Hi folks, welcome back. Now that we have seen about the user input and the typecasting, now it's time to learn about the display your output in a more structured and in a more readable manner. So how to make your output to be more structured and how should we make it in a more readable manner? So in Python, formatting your output isn't just about making it pretty. It's about making your code easier to read, debug, and present to users or the teammates. Now let's explore the most popular and modern ways to format strings in Python using f strings the modern way. Now, starting with f string, which is the most modern and the recommended way to format output in the Python 3.6 and above. Now, what's the benefit of using this print f string formatting? Using this f string, it allows you to embed expressions directly inside the strings using the curly bracket. What is the f string? Now, let's understand that with an example. I'm going to give a name, Sarvesh. I'm going to give an age, 34. I'm going to print f string, double quotes, hello, space. I'm going to give the name of the variable here, comma, you are, what is the age that the variable I'm passing here, years old, and close this. Right? Now you can see when I print this, hello Sarvesh, you are 34 years old. Right? So I'm passing this the string here in this variable name, the integer into this variable age. Now, instead of giving comma and closing double quotes and having an opening double quotes here, I'm giving it all at a single go. Wherever there is a variable name, I can use that variable name directly. Right? So you may ask what happens if I don't give this the curly bracket. Right? So if I don't give a curly bracket, it's going to consider this name and age as a string rather than a variable declaration. Right? So to how to make it as a variable declaration, I'm going to say hello and give it as a curly bracket with an f string before the double quotes. Right? So when in the print statement, I'm going to give an f string. Right? So what's the benefit here? If I'm going to use an f string formatting, this is more cleaner and more readable. You can embed variables directly. You can even evaluate expressions which is inside the double quotes, the curly brackets. Now, let's give an expression. Let's give a is equal to 5, b is equal to 10. Now, let's print f string, the sum of a and b is a plus b. Now, what do you think? It will be printing 5 plus 10 or the resultant value 15. Right? I have not closed this double quotes, my mistake. Right? So now you can see, look at this here. It has taken the variable a, since I've given it as an f string, it has considered a as a variable and 5 is adjusted here, and b is automatically printed here, is a plus b. Right? So 10 plus 5 automatically printed is the 15 is printed here. The sum of 5 and 10 is 15. Right? So that's the beauty here. Right? So there is another way as well. In this instead of f strings, I can use an format function. How can I use an format function? Format method. How can I use? Using a format method. Now, what is this format method? So before f strings, the common ways to format strings are using this format method. Now, after this latest, the Python 3.6, we have all started using this f strings. If I have to take a step back, how was this format method working? Right? So I'm going to give the same name, Sarvesh, and age 34. Right? So I'm going to print hello. Right? So open close bracket, the curly bracket, comma, you are, open close bracket, years old, right? So, and I'm going to give dot format. What are the two variable names? I can give the name, comma, age. So wherever there is a curly bracket in this order, right? So I have to give format. Hello Sarvesh, you are 34 years old, right? So if I had used this f string, I can directly input the variable name here. If I'm going to use this format method, I have to pass this variable names within this format function, right? So this is the older one, the classic way of doing it, right? So by default it has this indexes 0, 1, right? So based on this order it's going to say, right? So if I want, I could also uh, let's say change this order, right? So by default the index here is 0 and 1, right? So if at all I want to print 34 here and Sarvesh here, I can change this order, right? So by changing the index values, right? So these are some benefits of using this format, but seldom we go back and change this, right? So if I want to change it, I can give it within this curly bracket itself if I'm going to use an f string, right? So these are benefits of using this. And and when will you use these two? So if at all I'm going to use an f string, right? So this is the most modern way, right? So f strings. So f strings, modern, clean, readable, right? So first of all, the print statement is very small, therefore you are able to see the dot format. If it is more than this text box limit, right? So you do not know what is the order and what should be going in there, right? So what happens, and where will you give this dot format? Dot format I'm going to use whenever it is compatible, right? So whenever I'm going to use this older versions compatible with all the older versions. If at all you have an opportunity to, if you're working with this latest Python versions, it's advised to use these f strings, right? So, and there'll be often questions asked up, right? So f string is throwing an error, right? So that means you're using the older versions of Python. Then you have to use this dot format function, right? So whenever possible, use this f strings. They're faster, easier, more powerful, especially you're combining expressions, variables, and formatting, right? So these are the different ways of the print formatting, right? So far we have seen all the print statements, right? Now by the end of the session 2 or this module 2, the operators, I want you to work on a mini project, the temperature converter. So the main objective of this mini project is to create a simple and functional Python program that allows you to convert temperature between Celsius, Fahrenheit, and Kelvin. So whenever the user is going to pass an user input, you'll have to do the typecasting and you'll have to convert centigrade to an Fahrenheit, or Fahrenheit to an centigrade, or Fahrenheit to an Kelvin scale, right? So the problem statement here is like this: write a Python program that allows the user to choose a temperature unit they want to convert from and to. I'm passing in a temperature. I want you to convert from and to, and then enter the temperature value, right? So therefore the program should output the equivalent temperature in a desired unit. So what are the learning objectives? What all you will be learning here? You can take and validate the user input. You'll start using the if else conditions. You'll also start working on the typecasting, converting input from string to float. You'll start using f strings for clean output formatting. You'll start applying basic math formulas in the code, right? So this 5 aspects, if you're able to work, right? So that means you are more comfortable with various different aspects within the Python, right? So I've also given this conversion scale, right? How to convert centigrade to Fahrenheit. So this is the formula. So if centigrade is coming, so you just plug in this formula. You just plug in this formula as is, right? So first it's going to start with an flow, right? So I'll call it as an flow. It's going to say welcome, to the temperature converter. Welcome to temperature converter. So convert from what? Right? So convert from what? For example, I'm going to give centigrade. Right? So, and I'm going to give convert to what? Right? So I'm going to give it as Fahrenheit. Right? So, and we are going to pass enter temperature in the user input. Right? So if the user is typing in an input, say for example 100 degrees centigrade is equal to say for example something, right? So x6 degree Fahrenheit, right? So what is that Fahrenheit, right? So we have to put this like this. This is a flow. Welcome to the temperature converter. What to what scale do you want to convert? I want to convert the centigrade to Fahrenheit and enter the temperature. If at all I'm going to enter 100, so 100 degrees Celsius is equal to so and so degree Fahrenheit. So this is a very simple flow, and I want you to work on this mini project. This gives you a fantastic learning on how various different aspects. We'll also work with if, else if, typecasting, if strings, all those basic things will be covered here. Right? All right. So in the forthcoming session, let's start with the different data types and the different data structures. We'll start with what is a list, what is a tuple, what is a dictionary, right? So, and where are we going to use all these data types in detail, right? Thank you. Now we'll continue in the forthcoming sessions.